Master Gardener is a film by writer-director Paul Schrader. Now, if you think about gardening and you think about plants and things like that, there are a lot of euphemisms and metaphors that plants give. Like, for example, nurturing a plant with water and sunlight and care, nurturing a person in the same way. A seed can be a symbol of a new life or durability, or a woman's garden could be like a metaphor for a euphemism for something else. So this movie definitely leans into that, and that's kind of like one of the core aspects of Paul Schrader's Master Gardener. This one is the last of his unofficial Man in a Room trilogy. The first being First Reformed, with had Ethan Hawke as a tormented priest, and then Oscar Isaac's character in The Card Counter as an ex-convict. So this one is about Narvel Roth. He is a man with a checkered past who works as a master gardener, a horticulturist at Gracewood Gardens. It's a very supersized garden on an estate, and he has a very mysterious past. He's got a very enigmatic sort of style to him, but he's a very stoic and quiet man, gets the job done, and he works for Norma. She is a very wealthy woman because she has this giant mansion of sorts and also property and the garden itself. But she's also rich enough to employ several servants and the garden staff. So, she has enough money to pay out 6 or 7 salaries a year or so. She's very wealthy, and even though he has a green thumb, he's definitely under her thumb, which is something that's really subtly played. The movie's so subtle, I loved it. The movie hides away his past from you for a little bit, and it sort of gives you little nuggets to sort of come after, little breadcrumbs, and then there's these split-second flashbacks that sort of insinuate what he was into before he became a gardener. And the movie's really a dialogue. Paul Schrader has really improved over the years. I thought First Reformed is interesting, so is Card Counter, but this one is the best of the three for sure. There's just so much amazing work in the dialogue, and we talk about the technical aspects. The camera work is just absolutely gorgeous. It can hide things from the frame. It widens and dips around, and it's really great. It's worth watching just for the cinematography alone, to be honest. A really great job as the camera is utilized in really unique ways. But also the music's really great too. It pulses when it gets when there's a darker undercurrent of what's happening on screen. You can feel it sort of bubbling up a little bit, and it's really nice. And the performances are all there's the main 3 characters. Narvel, played by Joel Edgerton, is really great too, because he's got this sort of acting with his eyes, because he's a quiet, soft-spoken, mysterious man. But he's also really built, that there's something just sort of taught, there's something just there that he's always guarded, and it really comes off in a physical performance as well. And then you've got Quintessa Swindell as a sort of vulnerable Maya. She, I didn't even talk about the plot, sorry. Norma asks Narvel to sort of make Maya his understudy, an apprenticeship, and teach her all about the gardens. And she's sort of a distant family member who's not really close. So this is her way of sort of bringing her back into the fold. And of course, Maya's past starts to come back, and then it involves Narvel's past too. Culminates into some violence. So back to the acting, Sigourney Weaver, one of her best performances. The characters are so rich and full of depth, and she plays Norma with such this, you hate her, but she's got the fuck you money, she can do whatever she wants, and all the people there work for her. If she says jump, you say how high. That's the way it is when you're, feeding your family, and you owe everything to this woman. She definitely knows that she has the power over everyone in the room, and when she doesn't quite have power over Maya, there's a little bit of conflict there, which is really nice. So all 3 performances really elevated. There's a couple other people in the film, but they don't really do much, but the movie slowly, it doesn't have a wasted moment. All the little flashbacks add up to something more. Then we get the final flashback that sort of tells us, catches you up to the present day. And there's a lot of bubbling tension, but it's not for everyone. It's a slower drama film with some crime thriller elements. You can't expect this to be an action shoot 'em up. I mean, if you watch the trailer, it seems like there's going to be all this action, but most of it is at the end, and it's not really action per se. It's a moody crime thriller, but not not really a thriller. It's more of a crime drama. There are these two really obtrusive people in my theater, and they didn't like it, so they walked out after an hour. I'm so glad they did, because the rest of the movie got better because they weren't there. But, you know, you have to know what you're getting into, and the movie is not like a pew-pew action shoot-'em-up. It's a character-focused drama with some really great characters. Not a wasted moment, beautifully shot and scored, and you just sort of get all these little quiet moments. Everything was just, you know, operating at 11 out of 10, and it was just really great. So I give Master Gardener a perfect 10.